Hello and welcome to the Village Council meeting for Monday, July 6th. Judy, if you could call the roll.
Yes, indeed. DeVore Leonard.
Here.
Shu.
Here.
Samari.
Here.
Pierce.
Here.
Carmen Brown will not be at this meeting. She's out for family matters. Also present is Village Manager Johnny Burns and Village Solicitor Amy Blankenship.
Great. So for executive session, if I could get a motion under Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G1 to consider the evaluation or compensation of a public employee, and under Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G2 to consider the purchase of property for public purposes.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Judy?
DeVore Leonard.
Yes?
Shu.
Yes.
Samari.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go into executive session now. We'll be back in about an hour. Hello, and technically welcome back to the Monday, July 6th, 2026 meeting. We just got done with executive session, and if I could get a motion to enter regular session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we are officially back to the Monday, July 6th, 2026 council meeting, regular session. So we did roll call before. We are going to add doing a vote to excuse Carmen from the meeting. So is that just, can I get a motion? A motion to excuse Carmen from the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Well, I think we're on to announcements then. Are there any announcements anybody has?
It's not really a particular announcement, but we've been gone for a long time, and we've had a lot of cool stuff happen in the village. Good street fair, Pride, 4th of July,
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, thank you. Yeah, I had the most fun. That's the most time I spent out on that, and ate the most food. But yeah, June's a hopping month. Yeah.
Totally. Yay for stuff going on.
And class reunions, yeah.
Class reunions, a
Yeah,
bunch of people in
for
town. It's
high
true.
schools, yeah.
Yep. Any other announcements or whatever that is or was? All right. Next up is the consent agenda. And I think we can take a motion to do minutes from June 1st, June 25th, and the second meeting on June 25th for the required security legislation, and then the credit card statement for May.
So moved.
Second.
Great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Alrighty. Next up, we're at review of the agenda, the time where if there are any changes or questions about the agenda, now would be the time.
I'm interested in adding just a couple minutes under old business to talk about the moratorium on what's the official term? I don't want to misstate it.
Smoke shops?
Smoke shop, yeah, the smoke shop moratorium.
Vape shop or
Vape,
Smoke and vape shops?
smoke and vape shop.
smoke it. Vape.
Okay.
Yeah, just less than 5 minutes, some thoughts and comments that have come up that I think are just relevant.
Okay. I'm fine with that. Is that okay with y'all?
Yep.
Sure. Okay. So we'll put moratorium, 5 minutes on old business.
Thank you.
Any other review of agenda? Okay. Next up is petitions and communications. Angie, if you don't mind.
Yes. Jill Polly regarding request for dog park funds. Home Inc. regarding spring newsletter. Home Inc. regarding thank you. Clerk regarding joint meeting agenda for July 9th, 2026 meeting.
Great. And I guess maybe that should be an announcement. I'm not sure that it shows up on the agenda anywhere else other than maybe future agenda, just that we do have a joint meeting scheduled with the township and the school board folks later this week, that anyone is welcome to attend. And the agenda for that is online and was posted as well, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And just to note that the agenda says June instead of July, so we're confirming it is for July.
The agenda actually says June. Yikes.
Oh, you mean on clerk base?
Yeah, the version. Yeah, with the letterheads.
Oh, you mean on the actual agenda document? Okay. Good flag. Thank you. It definitely did not already happen. It is happening. Thank you. All right. Next up is citizen concerns. Let me get out my trusty paper. Okay, so for citizen concerns, this is a time set aside as a place for citizen comment on anything you wish to share for council consideration. If your comments are regarding a second read ordinance, they should be made during the public hearing for that ordinance, and public hearings are clearly noted on the agenda. Persons wishing to address council at any time during the meeting, including citizen concerns, should provide first and last name and association with the village, like resident or business owner, etc. Please try not to repeat previous comments. If something has already been shared, you can note agreement. In the interest of time, you'll be asked to move on if a topic has already been covered at length. Council wants to provide a thoughtful and responsive answer to questions which can be difficult in the context of a meeting, so you are unlikely to receive a response during the meeting. And then at the end of citizen concerns, if there are clear, concise responses or information to provide immediately, we will do so, and we will identify any follow-up needed for concerns or questions that can be addressed. And then last but not least, the mic is all set up, and so don't touch it, because if you touch it, it makes it difficult for our sound and engineering work. So that's our last little plug. And so now it'll be open for citizen concerns if anybody has any. Yep, go ahead.
Hello, my name's Mitzi Miller. I'm a resident of 36 years, I figured out. 2 months have passed with council agreeing to move forward on having our village manager pursue evaluation on accessibility in the downtown area and village parking lots. There were also to be evaluations on safety issues and signage around our schools back in April. I suggested several easy fixes that could be done with signage and moving parking spots butted up against our primary schools' crosswalks. At the housing retreat, council addressed the need for better communication with the public to gather community input. Town hall meetings were an excellent suggestion made by council, and I hope you plan to move forward with that. As members of councils, you should be overseeing public service. How are these things being prioritized? Who's prioritizing them? And what is the timeline for projects? I hope that energy spent on the housing retreat will overflow to other important issues in our village that we face. On May 7th, I provided the village and council with street surveys, accessible parking issues in our village lot, primary schools and downtown area. While I appreciate the support of some council members, these issues need to be moved forward in the 2026 year. Many of my suggestions can be easily fixed with our street crew. Our village needs to be encouraging businesses with parking lots to follow the American Disabilities Law. This should not take a formal complaint. Our village has a responsibility to address current village-owned parking lots and accessibility in the downtown area properly by making them accessible. Our council says they are committed to the community-driven process in the 2026 Comprehensive Land Plan. Well, this needs to be extended to other issues in our community like accessibility, school and signage, safety, parking, sidewalks, and maintaining our infrastructure. It would be nice to see the energy spent on housing applied to other areas. So I'm requesting accountability, communication, update, a time schedule when we can expect changes to occur regarding school safety and accessibility in our community. Settling for less is not acceptable for those with disabilities, our seniors, our children, veterans, visitors, and those with mobility issues. As council members, you have an opportunity to move these issues forward and make Yellow Springs a welcoming community for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other citizen concerns? I think you had her beat by just a tiny little hair of a second. Ladies first. Okay. All right. Go for it.
My name is Kim Lemkow, and I'm a resident of Yellow Springs at 114 South Walnut Street. And I'm also a business owner here, but this is in regards to my property at 114 South Walnut Street. I had a survey done last fall, and I suspected that the alley had been paved between the year 2020 and 2021 over my property, but didn't realize how much until a survey was completed and I had some pegs placed where the property lines are. So I'm asking that the village move the alley off the property, off my property, and to where it should be based on that change. I spoke to an attorney. I haven't hired an attorney because I'm just trying to see if we can work it out first. And he said that anything within a 21-year time period, I have rights to correct if there's evidence. And he was looking up on Google Maps and on the county photos that when you go onto a Greentown County tax assessor. And he said that he even sees a significant change between the year 2020 and 2021 when it was paved over. So basically at the back of my corner property, and I had, Johnny Byrne was giving everybody a packet, so hopefully you have this. But there's a area in purple that shows that the pavement, the alley has been paved about 8+ feet over onto my property line, not where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a straight diagonal line back to the end of my property. And then there's two little, basically weeds that turned into trees that got paved around instead of being removed, and the alley being paved where it's supposed to be. So I'm requesting that the village have the alley corrected right about where my barn is to the back corner of my property, to tear up the alley and remove the two trees and repave where it's supposed to be. I had in the packet also, there was some other photos like a little bit before 2020 showing that there was an Airstream camper park there, and that was before I bought the property. And I reached out to the previous owner and I got an email back from her, and she verified that was a 1971 Safari Airstream. And so I looked that up, and it's 23, that model is 23 feet long and 8 feet wide. And if you went out to the back of the property, there's no way you could put that there now. So that is another like a point of reference that you can use to show that used to be parked there, and the road was, on the other side of it. And then now you can't. The pavement is like right, it got paved in 2020, 2021, right where that Airstream used to be parked. So anyway, I've been working on this for a while, and I've been very patient. I started calling this to the attention of the village the middle of May, and then I asked that they please decide by a certain time. That wasn't met, but there was street fair and all that, so I was trying to be allowing. And then we made another deadline, and then that wasn't met, and then I was told to come here, so here I am. So,
Thank you.
Okay,
okay.
cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, go ahead.
Norman Alexander, I guess a long-term resident, still have the family home here. I'm back here for our 45th class reunion, class of '81. I'm concerned about it's the whole housing thing, but more, not so much houses, but apartments. We had the Windsor project, and I know you were around when Eric in the December 15th meeting, the Windsor representative talked about they hadn't purchased the Fells building yet, right? And they needed the CRA for sure to have it pencil out, right? And that's kind of a given thing. But my question is, has the Fells building been closed on yet? And kind of what's the general timeline, right? If everything's clicking along, are we talking 3 years, 4 years, 2 years for occupancy? Because I really think for young folks coming out of school, folks that want to come here, they aren't looking at buying a house right off the bat, right? You're looking for a nice place to stay, a nice apartment, and getting those, I think, is very important. So I just wonder what the timeline is. The longer things go, I'm concerned about Windsor and what they'll be able to do or not be able to do, because the costs are going up, right? So that's the question. So I don't know if you can answer that, but if you can answer it next meeting, I'll always schedule.
That one I can give you a little bit of info. We'll do at the end.
Okay.
So just after citizen concerns, I'll give a little bit, and then we'll give you a connection of who to talk to.
Okay, thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other citizen concerns? Yeah.
Hi, Rolita Hildebrand, Village resident. First of all, I want to say, I have 3 topics. That I support the Village Council funding the Yellow Springs Senior Center request. I would support you spending more to support the Yellow Springs Senior Center, as a matter of fact. They provide an amazing return on investment to this community, and we do a lot to support other organizations, and so. I also want to talk about Clark County's Rural Zoning Commission. I'm not sure if you've heard, but the Clark County Rural Zoning Commission is considering taking 300 acres that are adjacent to the Springfield Airport that are within 5 miles of the village and turning it from agricultural to light industrial. This is property that's owned by Springfield. I mean, it's the city's property. Right now, it's zoned rural, and they want to make it light industrial. At the same time, there's been discussion about standoff for the National Guard base that's there, which rural property obviously supports. So there's been a signature collection effort over the last couple weeks within the village, even though we're in Greene County, we're within 5 miles of this. So it would impact traffic on 68. It would impact us in many ways that people haven't considered. But it would really impact the people in Hewstead most. So anyway, I'm just bringing that to your attention if you are not sure about it. There is a meeting of the Clark County Rural Zoning Commission on the 9th, same as our joint meeting, but anyway, I wanted to bring that up. And then my last is just a feedback on the housing retreat. I really want to emphasize that we have the bike rack and parking requirements in our zoning laws to basically take into consideration the fact that our streets are old, they're narrow, they are not accommodating for people to park on the streets. So to me, taking those out of the zoning requirements would be a huge mistake. Also, if we're talking about affordable housing, a lot of people use bicycles, and it makes sense to have bike parking. I also want to encourage transparency from village council members leading up to and following the RFP for Glass Farms. I would ask that you individually and as a group of 2 and as parts of other community forums abstain from communication with Home Inc. Executive Director and board members regarding this development. Home Inc. used to be a part of the Village Council. It isn't anymore. It's an individual organization. It will be competing against others. And we've gone through this before. There was a huge lack of trust coming out of the last RFP. And so I just encourage you to please, please, please limit your communications for the sake of the integrity of this organization. Thank you.
Cool, thank you. Are there any other citizen concerns? Yeah, go ahead, Riley.
Hi, my name is Riley Dixon. I work for the local paper in town. I also have a couple of questions that kind of go in a few different directions. I guess most of them are about the goal document that we'll be hearing updates on later in the meeting. Specifically, clarity on number 12 about economic development. It says staff and YSDC are to meet with DDC. I guess just clarity on what DDC that is, if that's the development company that built Spring Meadows or a different one. There was the word "the" in front of DDC, so I assume it might be Dayton Development Corporation. Just some clarity on who that might be. I'm also interested in the timeline for the crisis plan, goal number 15. Apropos of nothing, other than having listened to an interesting podcast a day or two, I walked up and saw that the Bryan Center is a nuclear fallout shelter. I didn't know that until I saw the, hopefully apropos of nothing. I didn't know that until walking up just this afternoon, so maybe information on that in carrying out that goal. I'm also excited about the new website. I don't mean this in any kind of like cute or glib way, but I don't know if we've ever heard why we're getting a new website, if there were really any serious malfunctions or shortcomings of the existing website. And I don't know, I guess I'm interested to hear how this new website will be a substantial level up. And then I also really enjoyed meeting Naya for the first time and putting her in the YS News. I still don't fully understand the recategorization of the title. Meg was the PZA, and then she became the Economic Development Director, and now Naya is back to the Planning and Zoning Administrator. So where did the economic development piece of that position go? And how does that kind of flow into the village's commitment to economic development, whatever that means for this council? So, yeah, quite a few questions there. So thanks for letting me ask.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen concerns? Okay, I think there's a couple of these that we can just at least make directions on. So, to your question about the Fells building, I think the person to call would be Naya Holt at the village, the planning and zoning director who was just referenced. The most recent thing that happened publicly was that the Windsor company asked for some more time for their application for the final development plan. So anyway, but she could give you the exact, like, here's the most recent, but we're in a little bit of a waiting zone right now. The question on DDC, that one's an easy one. They did mean the Dayton Development Corporation, not the ones that did Spring Meadows. And then the other ones, I think we should probably have a follow-up conversation on a couple of those, Riley, but I don't know, probably can't get into all of them now. Yeah. Is that it? Was there any other easy one? Okay, those are the easy ones. Okay. Thank you, everyone, on citizen concerns. We will now move to the.
Somebody can just walk in.
Oh. Yeah, if you're a citizen concern. Yeah, you're
perfect
okay.
time.
Yeah.
I'm Jerry Papania. I'm a resident of Yellow Springs, and I noticed that renewing the solicitor's contract is up for discussion this evening, and I want to point out a couple of things regarding the solicitor's performance, regarding the Windsor projects, okay? Windsor originally made an application for 128 unit 300 or 3.5-story complex, which was out of compliance with the Fair Housing Act because of ADA requirements. This is something that the solicitor should have picked up on from the beginning and did not. And the only reason it came up is because a local attorney brought it up during the hearing. Okay? I'm unaware of any oversight the solicitor had in evaluation for the PUD processing, but the developer's assertions regarding open space and inventory of existing village apartment complexes was inaccurate. This was not picked up by the village solicitor. My attempt to engage the village manager and members of the planning commission to join me at the site regarding some property boundary issues was not responded to, and I suspect that the village solicitor had some input into that. From the outset of the project, the CRA was proposed by the developer, and I'm unaware of any attempt at meaningful negotiation on this issue. I would think that a reasonable solicitor, a responsible solicitor, would recommend some negotiation in that. The solicitor recommended a village-wide CRA, okay? This seems to be highly unusual as these districts are customarily established on a targeted area. It's been the village's intention from the outset of the project to do a TIF for construction of a proposed extension of East North College as an enhancement to the project. It doesn't appear to be an approach that is in the best interest of the taxpayers of the village considering the tax abatement. Why should the public pay for on-street parking for a private developer project? This approach was obviously initiated by the solicitor. The solicitor's firm also has a public finance division, okay? In which they are extracting fees for their services to the village. And I suspect they promoted that. And I can go on and on. There, you know, emergency passage of the CRA, which was totally unnecessary. You know, why did they wait till the last minute to do this on an emergency basis? Traffic study was asked for up front. The solicitor didn't follow up on that request. It's all documented. I'm not making things up. And the issues should have been resolved before revision of the PUD zoning. There's a number of issues that haven't been resolved and put on the back burner and left. And what's going to happen, and what may happen, is that the developer has been given the impression that this is going to go through for final approval. He's spending resources on developing this project. And if he doesn't get it at the end, is there going to be a lawsuit because he was given the impression that this was a slam dunk?
Okay, we're well past your 3 minutes, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other citizen concerns? Okay, so next up is public hearings and legislation. If we could start, get a motion to read things by title only.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so first up is the emergency reading of ordinance 2026-12. Judy, if you could read that by title only, please.
This is amending section 1440.02 of the codified ordinances, part 14, title 4, Building and Housing Code of the Village of Yellow Springs, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Great. If I could get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so Judy's going to introduce this, and then we don't have to do public hearings. We always do them on emergency legislation, so we'll start with some summary, get any initial questions, then open a public hearing, and then come back to a vote if we get there. Judy, go for it.
So what changing this does is basically takes the fee schedule out of the ordinance category, and it allows council to set the fee schedule by resolution. So if you pass the change to this one, which is there bolded, and it just simply says the fee schedule will now be set by resolution. Once you've passed that, it will enable you later this same meeting to amend the fee schedule by resolution.
Any questions for Judy before we open the public hearing? Okay. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You know, whenever we see like emergency reading of ordinance, it always seems like it's an emergency, right? This obviously isn't like a water main break or anything. So just for clarity, this is mostly for me, like how does this change moving forward? Like let's say, for instance, like what's the public notice process moving forward for resolution moving forward? When, let's say, like Johnny or the village manager proposes a change. Just for clarity, because I've had this question, and it came up because of the last conversation, this emergency, when it comes up, how do we, like instead of giving like a boilerplate justification, like why couldn't this be passed on as a reading resolution and just go through the normal channels?
Because it's not a resolution. It's an ordinance, which requires 2 readings and then 30 days until passage, which means that it would be 2 months from now before then a resolution could be brought to change the fees. So you'd be looking at 2 months out before fees could be changed, which...
And I say that with all, like, I'm okay with this, like, but what rises to the level of an emergency reading of an ordinance, right? If it's not of the essence, like timely. This is a generalized question, not focused on this specific.
No, I mean, you have to have some reasonable need to capture those fees. And if
Yeah.
you are aware of what's going on in town right now, you would know that if you do not pass this ordinance and then the change in fees fairly soon, you will be missing out on a great deal of, I wouldn't say income related to fees, because those are actual costs encumbered by the village. So you will be then losing money by providing services to developers. And so that is the emergency, because the budget will take a hit, basically, if you don't pass it.
Well, to follow up on that, this is, looking at the memo, says that we're only getting 7% of those fees anyhow, basically, right? So, to
Yeah.
the point of we're missing out on a lot of money. We're not, for a $100 fee, we're not getting $7, So I don't think we're missing a lot of money. Just to, and I'm not, that just stood out to me. Yeah. Which I guess
Well, the other piece is that you can't set your fees egregiously high. I mean, there's a point that the village is sort of stuck in between, and you should do what you can do.
And that was a question I had, like unrelated to the emergency part, so I don't know if that fits in here, questions, but why are we,
I think that one is under the other one technically,
The other one?
so
Okay.
flag it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
they're obviously interrelated. Just to comment, response real quick to your point, Sinai. I think heard, and it's like, it's never more than the staff have identified that there's something timely about a thing, and so there's no reason why, if it doesn't feel like it needs to be an emergency, that we couldn't change it away from one.
Yeah,
So just,
and I guess that's like, what's the system, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's all I'm asking is it 2 out of 3 members of the executive who believe that it's an emergency reading, or is it at the
to my
behest
knowledge,
of?
it has been, the system is simply, staff has identified that there would be a benefit to making an emergency. And so when we send out the draft agenda, I think that would be a great time to say, hey, wait a minute, I have some question about that. Because otherwise, I think in general, I don't remember there ever being a time where we haven't been just, okay, I can see that. So just speak up in the response to the draft agenda if you have any question. That's, I think, the extent of the system.
That, and just to note that all budget-related ordinances are set by charter, can always be passed as emergency. So,
Okay. Any other questions on this one? Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing now. So if anybody has any comments from the public? Yeah?
Riley Dixon again. Is it, reading between the lines and having just driven on the northwestern part of town, like a lot of ground is about to be broken on 190 units, is that right? And so I guess, pulling back the curtain, how does this work? Does the village have the capacity right now to do all of this for this many units? That's an incredible amount of work, I imagine. And I don't know. I guess the recouping what would be dollars, I guess, is a persuasive argument. But and that rising to the level of Fairborn in the county. But I guess it just seems like a lot of work. And how the heck is the village going to do it? I'd be interested to hear. I think that's all. Thanks.
I feel like that's like a whole other can of worms. Yeah. So anything else on this this question of whether or not to, and this is on the public side, any other public comments on the emergency reading of ordinance 2026-12? Okay, so I'm going to close the public hearing, and then I think just probably everybody got them out, but any other questions about this one? Okay. So Judy, if you could call the roll, please.
Indeed. Shu,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Samari,
Yes.
DeBoer Leonard.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is Resolution 2026-25. Judy, if you could read that by title only, please.
This is entering into a contract with Amelia N. Blankenship Esquire of Bricker, Graydon, Wyatt to serve as village solicitor for a term of up to 3 years and fixing compensation.
Great. If I could get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Are you wanting to say things?
I am.
Okay.
To say things.
Go for it.
Thank you for taking that cue.
Yeah.
Gavin. Hi, good evening. Yes, so my contract is up for renewal in June, July of this year. Council, we've had an opportunity to discuss the contract and rates in executive session. And as you can see, the rates in the contract are at $285 an hour for the first 2 years, which is $10 more than they currently are. So they're going up by $10 an hour. And then the meeting retainer is remaining at the same rate that it's at right now. So there is a small limited retainer for my attendance at 2 council meetings a month. And sometimes in different months, it'll include other meetings as well, be it Planning Commission or BZA or a housing retreat here or there. Happy to answer any questions you might have about the contract. It is, as always, my great pleasure to serve as the solicitor of this village. I appreciate your consideration, and if you have any questions, let me know.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I know it says I was the one leading on this, but that seems like it was the main ideas. Is there anything, does anybody have any questions or anything they want to say in addition? Okay, well, then all those in favor, say aye.
Public comment?
We don't typically do public comments on resolutions.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, so all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Next up is Resolution 2026-26. Judy, if you could read that one by title only, please.
This is approving a contract with Choice One Engineering for engineering of the storm sewer improvements on Fairfield Pike.
All right, if I could get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Great. Johnny, I think this is you.
This is me. This is the storm system that we applied for the OPWC grant for Fairfield Pike. Some of the work to be done to get the storm up to date to where if we ever get another grant for a sidewalk, that piece of that project would be completed. This is for Choice One to start on the engineering to be able to go out for bid by winter time. And the funds are now available July 1 with the OPWC.
Okay. Are there any questions? Well, I have a couple. So this just reminds me. So where are we at on the funding or lack thereof for the sidewalk? Like this was, because this is basically what came up after we decided to do the sidewalk, then we realized we'd have to do storm to make the sidewalk work.
We was going
Right.
to do storm and sidewalk together.
Uh-huh.
We have now separated them so we can get the storm work done to where the sidewalk will not be as big of a project.
Okay.
So essentially, this is coming off of the sidewalk piece, so the sidewalk will be cheaper when we go out for.
Okay, so there's not like an open application for the sidewalk.
No, absolutely.
This is sort of like step one.
This is step one of probably a 4-step process.
Okay. And then, so is it, I assume that this project came about because of the sidewalk
Correct.
project, right? So does this mean that this is essentially the top priority stormwater mitigation project in the village right now?
For right now, it is because the underpass of the bike path was flooding and it was causing us issues down there as well.
Okay.
So this will help mitigate that problem.
Cool, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All righty. Next up is Resolution 2026-27. Judy, if you could read that by title only, please.
This is approving a fee schedule for residential and commercial building permits for the Village of Yellow Springs.
Great, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and Naya, I think this one's you. This is the aforementioned and the place where Stephanie's question will come back to live. But Naya, if you want to share about how you prepared for this, go for it.
Yes, so I actually worked with Aaron, looking at different communities. Yes, Fairborn and Greene County were one of them. We also looked at some other communities. Yes, they were bigger that had building departments, but we started with NIC, the National Inspection Corporation, as a partner. They already worked with us, but they had done some research themselves and had some suggested fees, but we wanted to look at them ourselves to see what was out there, what other people and communities were charging. But the goal of this was not to make a profit, as we know, as municipal government, but was to make sure that the costs are being covered. Speaking with Johnny and a lot of the other communities who are looking at it as well, they found that a lot of the costs were not even covering our part-time worker. So we needed to look at it at this time. It seemed like the right time, especially with the project, as was mentioned earlier, that's coming down the pipeline and about to really already broke down, but to get started. So that was the goal of really looking at it at this moment and this time. So I hope that kind of answers your question, Stephanie.
No.
Oh, no? Okay. Okay. I said a lot of words, maybe not the right
I mean,
ones.
it's a simple, maybe I just don't know. I just don't understand why we charge a fee and that company is getting 90% of the fee that we charge.
So that was in the contract that was agreed upon in 2021.
Is that?
Yeah.
That's,
So
yeah.
that, so they did it.
So we basically charge fees to give them to other people.
Yeah.
Like, that's
So,
just how that.
Yeah, instead of hiring an employee to do it ourselves, and so they would have to be specialized to do inspections, they would have to do plan review, they would have to know HVAC, plumbing, electrical. Instead of hiring a completely specialized person, we've contracted with this company who has all of them in-house. They've already hired those people, and we give 90% of those fees to them.
Okay, so so there's some clarity for me there. It's
Yes.
there's not a staff person.
Correct.
Going and doing these things.
Yes.
They're doing it and okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Stephanie, we used to be with Greene County, and we switched and went to NIC to save some of the money and get a better service. And so we as staff took on the permit process, and we wasn't doing it we didn't cover our fees, but we needed it to be able to help us on the economic development side, on the housing for businesses. So we've made a complete 180, seeing as how we've brought it in-house. And this is just, Meg and I started on this almost, I think it was a year ago, that we started looking at fees. And so literally, we are entering the permits, we're collecting the money, we're sending the drawings. NIC does everything else. And so then we collect the fees, and then that's how the process. But they have all the professionals, building, electrical, all the inspectors.
This is before my time, but the way it was described to me is basically, this is another one of these scale issues where we're not big enough that we have enough development that having all of this in-house makes sense. So we're basically, buying a share of this company's time, and they're working with a bunch of other municipalities. And then, but the main reason was so that we could go faster, essentially.
Yes.
Because the concern was that with the county, it wasn't going fast enough, and that was a larger issue. Is that a fair summary?
At the same time we left, Cedarville left, and Xenia, City of Xenia left at the same time. And so we're all with NIC right now.
Oh, okay.
And so raising the fees, one of the core components is just ensuring that we're covering the costs that we're incurring either way. Or is it there?
We're trying to cover some of the costs. We're still not covering all the costs.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's helping.
But are we paying them the same amount even if we don't raise the fees? Or meaning like, if we get $100 in fees, is it just by contract they get 90, and then if it goes up to $200, they'll get
Then we'll have to come back and raise fees again. If they raise their fees to us, we're going to come back. This is just to get us in line with everybody else.
And to cover the costs that we've already incurred to get closer to that.
Right.
As opposed to get further behind.
Correct.
Okay.
And this shift to a resolution that makes it faster, so we don't have to do things by by an emergency in the future.
The only other thing I'll say is we did talk about this in Finance Committee for a meeting, for a minute, and if ideally, I would like for these things to be just baked into change by inflation, but we're not allowed to do that. So it's not like we can just increase by cost of living or inflation or some other like annual thing. So this is part of the at least simplify it so that we don't have to go through a whole rigmarole every time. But the note to self on anything that changes regularly is if we don't change it regularly, we're going to eat money, essentially. So now we made a list of things that we should do annually. And so this is one of these things where costs go up every year. If we don't change our fees for several years, we're just losing money, essentially. And not for the make money purpose, but just so that we can try to keep up with costs.
But just to be clear, we do still lose a little money doing this. I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but we're losing less by
If you charge
letting
every
that
bit of
company
our staff time,
do it for us.
we are losing money.
Yeah. But we lose less.
We're losing money to make
Yeah.
money.
That's, less is good. Okay, thank you.
I think the discussion has answered my question, but I'm going to bring it up anyways because it's just food for thought. In the last housing retreat, we were talking about how do we encourage certain types of building that we want to see. So I think one of my questions was, is there a practice in terms of these types of fees where certain fees are less because we're trying to encourage solar or something like that? So I think the answer is no from what I've heard right now, but I'd be curious if there are examples of that.
So since we are contracted with them, we could waive that fee, but we would still have contracted to pay them.
Yeah.
So we would take that on if we were going to reduce or waive a fee for a project as an incentive. But we, as a village, would still have to pay them because we are contracted to pay them a certain amount.
Yeah.
For their
So
services.
do you know of municipalities that are using that as a way to incentivize certain types of builds, or is it not very common? Or
I mean, it's common, but they have their own building, so they control it. It's within their house,
Yeah, or can be compensated by a different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're able to do it within. And I'm happy to send those to you later.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Any other questions? All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? All right. Thanks, Naya. Appreciate it. All right. Next up is Resolution 2026-28. Judy, if you could read that by title only, please.
This is authorizing the village manager to renew health insurance for village employees.
Great. If I could get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Lise, looks like you're up.
Yes, good evening. Lise Shardilo, Assistant Village Manager. It's that time of year again where we need to renew health insurance for employees. So the village, we joined the Ohio Benefits Cooperative, also known as the OBC, in 2025 last year after we did a full market review. At that time, we were looking at significantly higher fully insured renewal through Anthem, and the OBC option provided both, immediate savings and greater long-term stability. The OBC is a pooled insurance arrangement made up of local governments and public entities across Ohio and our region. So instead of each employer going to the market alone, which is what we were doing in previous years, members joined together in a shared risk pool. So that's where we are now. That allows us as a group to negotiate collectively, spread risk across a larger number of employees, and achieve more stable and competitive pricing than we otherwise would being out on our own. So this evening's resolution authorizes the village manager to renew our employee health insurance for the 2026 to 2027 plan year and continue participation in this cooperative. For the upcoming plan year, the renewal reflects a 10.76% increase across all coverage tiers. While that is an increase, it is generally in line with the current healthcare cost trends across the broader market. To provide a bit more context, recent market data from our broker has shown that comparable Anthem renewals are averaging at around 16%. So even with this increase, the OBC continues to help shield the village from higher market vitality by what am I trying to say? Being out on our own. It just shields us a bit more. So importantly, I will say that there are no changes to the plan design, so employees at the village are going to maintain the same coverage structure that they currently have, and the village will continue its 85-15 premium cost share, meaning the village pays 85% of the premium, the employee pays 15%. So with that, happy to answer any questions about healthcare.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, I had one, which is, so there's not any bigger pool than this that we can join, right? Like, this is the end of the pool? There's not like a Midwest pool? Okay, and you can't make single-payer healthcare an option? What about socialized medicine? You
I know,
can't.
right? I know, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
all right, well, I just want to make a note.
on this Monday night.
Because we had this little reprieve from major increases last year, and that was really nice. But it's a bummer to see them and then to know this might continue. And man, I hope that our country will fix this someday. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was my question/comment.
Second.
Yeah. And I guess to give some context as to why we're seeing the 10%, there was a 21% increase in large claims in just 1 year. And so that could have been, you know, a few individuals just from the village or not at all. So it's just part of it, it's just how it goes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments about the state of our? Yeah.
We could be here all night.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Maybe just questions. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, thank you. All right, next up is special reports, of which we have none. So now we'll move to the manager report. And Elise and Johnny, you're up.
Back to Elise.
Okay, so in your packets is a council goals update that we've provided as staff, sort of our progress towards each of the adopted village council goals. So just to reiterate, moving forward, staff will provide a goals update at the first council meeting of each month with a more detailed manager's report and staff updates at the second meeting of each month. I won't go through every goal in detail right now, but I do want to highlight a few key updates. So under housing strategy and development, council and staff recently completed the second housing retreat. Staff are currently finalizing the draft 2026 Bowen study, which council will receive by July 20th, and we will schedule a work session ahead of the August 17th meeting to review that report in more detail. So we did get confirmation, I believe this morning, Naya, yes, from the Bowen team that they can in fact be here at that second meeting in August. Also under housing, a signed agreement is now in place with Beck Consulting to complete the appraisal for Glass Farm. Under organizational leadership, the RFQ for strategic planning consultant was issued on June 17th with responses due back to the village by July 29th. Staff have been responding to questions that have been coming in from interested consultants. We have a few, which is exciting. We will bring a recommended firm forward for council consideration at the August 17th meeting. At that time, we will also bring forward a contract amount, which would require a supplemental appropriation prior to execution, should we do that in this year. Under financial sustainability, the 2026 budget schedule is now in place with departmental targets due to the finance director July 17th. Our finance director, Michelle Robinson, has also recently completed additional professional training through RITA and a week-long public finance officer program. So shout out to Michelle. Under housing policy, planning and zoning director Naya Holt presented a zoning code SWOT analysis at the second housing retreat, which concluded that only minor adjustments are needed and that the current code does not present barriers to housing development. The village manager and I also presented the Shared Resource Center's pro forma results for Lawson-Place Apartments, which was a positive update on our affordable housing asset there. So that's all I'll highlight for now. Happy to take any questions on any of the goals.
I have one question you answered, which it sounds like there's been some strategic plan RFQ response, which is good. And then I think we got our signals crossed a little bit because I know that I want to be involved in that. I think we were going to set up like a selection committee or something. So are there any other council members that want to be involved in the selection committee? I think it's like ideally it's two of us because then we don't get into all the stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm interested.
okay. Is anybody, is it cool if Angie and I do it? So let's just, all sounds fine, but just involve us in the, so from the beginning. So I'd like to be part of seeing the applications and everything and then talking about those steps.
Yes, and we can do interviews. We can figure that out. Sounds
Great.
good.
Great. happy to hear that we're
Yeah,
getting a
no,
response.
it's exciting.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Any other questions on goals?
I have one more that's kind of related. Has there been any movement or more discussion about the SIP, the capital investment?
We had a meeting scheduled with Kettering. We had to postpone it until
Okay.
next week.
Okay.
Yes.
So still talking about
Still
it, but
talking.
haven't started like
Correct.
picking a firm or anything? Okay, cool. That's it.
Okay.
Any other questions for Elise and/or Johnny on goals update? Great,
Okay.
thank you.
And then Johnny did have a few other additional.
The
updates.
other credit card policy, we'll be bringing it back next council to get some things changed that Amy has identified that we need to change and bring it up to date. The new village website will be shown to you the 20th, is that right, Elise? The work session. Riley will get back with you with all the reasons, but I can tell you it's outdated and it's non-compliant with the state laws now. So, but we got a little bit, so we're actually ahead of the game right now. So, and the website's going to be phenomenal. Everybody will be able to use it. School signage, Choice One did do a overview. They actually drove. They looked at all the information that we provided them. The school signs are in compliance. The flashing lights is not a requirement, but if council wants to see them, we'll need to get some quotes and get them in the budget for 2027. And then if council wanted to do a complete school, actually have them put it on their signature and stamp it, they're willing to do that as well. But some signs will probably change because on school signage, it cannot extend past the property lines, and some of ours do now. So the signs would not go further out, they'll come closer to the schools because of the property lines. Right now, it's like a half a block away, we're warning people versus being at the property lines. But that's something that we can talk about. I know at Active Transportation, there's also going to be some talk when we have a meeting this week about that as well. Cyber training, we are all compliant. We actually start our training July 13th. Staff has 30 days to complete the first of many phases on cyber training. And I think council is lucky and they don't get to participate in any of it. But if you guys feel bored and you want to have something else to do, just let me know and we'll send you some links. So that is what we have. I will say July 4th was amazing. The parade was phenomenal. We had more people downtown this year versus further out in the parade. And it's probably the largest one I've been a part of since I got here in 2014. So,
Cool, thank you. Any questions for Johnny? Okay, next up, old business. So first up is the consideration of the amended senior center grant request. So my name's on this. I think, so y'all saw the memo that Judy put in. Judy, thanks. don't think I was supposed to do a memo, so hopefully you doing it was fine. I think I'm just listed on here because I was supposed to just tee it up, which is basically what Judy said. The only additional context is that I'll say that when we talked about this in the budget process, I would say that the substance of the discussion, to the extent there was one, was the expectation that it was effectively general operating support, and that then the use of the funds for a particular purpose was then, once we identified that we needed to have a particular reason, a particular thing, at which point we brought that to council a couple months ago, and then realized that, actually, they don't want it or need it for this purpose, and so it would be better to have for the purpose that is listed in the memo that Judy shared. I think that's the context. Did I miss anything? Okay, so are there any questions about this? Okay. And just, if it wasn't clear, I think this is basically like a paperwork moving process, so I think this makes sense. So, all those in favor, is there?
It's a resolution. You're going to bring it back. This is basically, if you're agreeable, then legislation comes back to your next meeting, because it has to be
Okay.
in the
So
form of a
then,
resolution, yes.
there isn't typically, so the answer is, there's not typically comment on a, what is it, on an old business item, on a discussion item. The time there would be public comment would be at the, when there's, well, you could do it anytime you want, but the resolution, there wouldn't be public hearing on a resolution though, right?
No, but
Citizen concerns.
precedes-
Citizen
yeah.
concerns. So citizen concerns is the place to put in the comments, basically. Is that the short version?
That's not
I don't-
what I was told this evening when I was told to come back at 7.
Okay, well, come on up, let's do it. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Mullen. I'm the Executive Director of the Yellow Springs Senior Center. Also, we're actually the Yellow Springs Senior Citizens, Inc. I just wanted to state that we really appreciate, for the first time since the 1980s, we have been included in the budget for the Yellow Springs Village. It is really heartwarming because it says that the village acknowledges all that we do to support the community through our agency. Since the 80s, we've been able to continue with the support of our generous donors and our volunteers. During 2025 alone, we had 195 volunteers that provided 6,800 hours of service. The village couldn't afford to do that if we were part of needing the village to support us like so many other communities have. The seniors are a growing population in Yellow Springs. We are making up nearly half of the population over 60 in the village. The membership is also growing. During the last few months, we've reached the point of over 850 members, which is a 10% increase since last year. Our services, programming, and activities could not be replaced by any other entity in the community. We are a vital link for those who are homebound to have home assistance, transportation, errands done, and socialization. We are a resource when people are navigating life changes and a thriving center of activities and classes. I bring all that up because one of the points in the funding was to prove that we were an important resource in the community. So I hope that's not a point that anybody would argue. So we have been navigating the process of fitting the requirements to be funded by the village, and I want to make it clear that it's not that we no longer needed or wanted the council's assistance in helping to purchase our property. What happened is that we were asking for that funding, and because we have contractual obligations that limited us, we could not make our process fit into the guidelines of the village. So it is not that we are not needing money, but I want to make sure that's very clear. We are trying to get that Cliff Street property purchased. We would appreciate the village would consider shifting the funding from the initial purchase of the property to instead help to pay for the services to plan, design, and initiate work on the project. I am pleased to report that several generous donors have helped us get close to having the funds to complete the purchase of Cliff Street. We have a contract to sell the Livermore property and should have those proceeds by the end of July. With those funds in the bank, we will be within reach of having the capital necessary to complete the sale. Having funding from the village to get right to work on our plans will get us closer to where we need to be, at last, in a building with the capacity to hold everything we do. Thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're just talking about this to see if there's any input before it would then come on the next agenda. So it's not a voting, we're just sorry, I got ahead of myself. So any other input before then it'll go on future agenda that we'll talk about, we'll have a resolution in the next packet. Okay. The next thing up is the housing retreat update. This is also me teeing it up. I think this was just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware in the public that we had a housing retreat. It's available online. You're welcome to watch it. There was a story about it in the Yellow Springs News. There's other information that's available, but just encouraging people to watch it. if you have questions and want to know the sort of most recent information about what's going on around housing. The one follow-up thing that I wanted to follow up on that we didn't have like a next step on at the meeting was just checking to see about how we might follow up on the twin coach or on any other, like, when we see opportunities, what do we do? And so that was my one thing I wanted to just touch base on to see, is it okay to start, make a few calls, ask questions, figure out what's possible? So that's my one question. But any other things that people wanted to bring up about the housing retreat in general?
No, I was going to say, I think the format is still working well for us in terms of how committed this council is and everybody taking responsibility for different parts and moving them forward. So I would say, yeah, let's ask questions and be proactive, and that I think has been our approach to the housing challenges in this village. So I think for that, yes, and for the other topics, I think each of us is working on moving the ball forward so that we just keep the progress going.
Okay, so there's no reason I couldn't make a phone call or two, figure out what's going on, and then if there's information that's worth bringing back to staff or bring back to council, bring it back.
Yes.
There was clear interest at the retreat and checking in on it. I didn't want to get out over my skis and start calling before that was okay. Okay. Any other housing update things? Okay. Next up is the moratorium thing that you added. Do you want to go forth?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to make a note that for those of you who weren't in the last conversation about it, it was brought up that there have been businesses that have been really compliant, that have really contributed to the community, even though they fall in that that category. It was not meant to be a judgment on all businesses in that category, but we did start to talk about what does it mean, youth who are using these products, vaping products that are doing targeted marketing at young people. And I think because of that conversation, I had several community members come up to me and tell me about the prevalence of vaping among high school students, in high schools, kids who have walked into some businesses in town and been offered to purchase a product as a young teenager. And to be clear, that is not exceptional. That happens everywhere. And we're fighting, an uphill battle of these companies that have a lot of money and a lot of resources to be targeting youth. But it definitely, made me feel like, we need to be on top of this because it's something that is happening. And for example, when I walk down on Xenia, I know Tweedledee's has that. Whatever.
Cinema rope.
Yeah, the rope.
They don't have that anymore, though.
Oh, previously. And so, in the last meeting, we were kind of saying we don't exactly know what are the different rules for the different types of businesses that fall in this category, and how do we ensure that the products aren't getting into the wrong hands. So I think I just wanted to flag it, say that it's important to me personally. I hear from the community members that it's important to them, especially parents of high school students or young people. And I think, I'm saying, it's an interest, and I know that we had left it at, we're going to return to it and look at the different categorizations and what are the different enforcement mechanisms. Are there enforcement mechanisms? So I'm looking forward and feeling motivated to keep that on the agenda.
Sounds good. I'll just throw in maybe a connection to the housing retreat conversation is just a sort of a reminder to everyone that we are largely a complaint-driven setup here when it comes to these issues and many other ones. So if you have issues that if people are concerned about underage solicitation or whatever the right word would be, that's a thing to tell the village about, right?
Yeah.
Similar to if there are housing issues, we're not proactively going out and looking for them.
Yeah.
You have to tell us, and then if we can, we might react. But if we don't know, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? Correct. Okay.
Yeah, and I think my less than 5 minutes was even just like a PSA. You know, sometimes it's easy to not talk about the thing because we all acknowledge that it's a problem, it's a national problem, but you know, we're small enough where we're trying to take care of each other, especially the youth. So let's speak up when we hear about things that shouldn't be happening.
Just two things, one really. Staff is working on the regulations. We're actually going to have that introduction conversation with Planning Commission at their next meeting.
Excellent. Thank you.
Cool. All right, anything else? All right, next up, we're going to move on to new business. First is an update on the prohibition on the driving or digging of wells legislation. And it looks like it's you, Johnny.
It is me. Carmen and I are currently working on that. We've actually enlisted or sent an email to Choice One to see if they have any policies or procedures that they would also recommend. So we will get back with you when we get some more information.
That might be a very fast 5 minutes, but are there any questions?
Is that 5 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Keep us posted. Next up is the proposed bad debt write-off policy for village accounts. And it looks like this might be you, Amy?
Sure, thank you. Michelle isn't here with us tonight, but I do, as I said in my memo, I've had this conversation with her. She's reviewed the draft of what an ordinance could look like. So Michelle and I have had some conversations over recent months about, for example, you know, occasionally we will have a tenant move out of Lawson Place and have unpaid rent that never gets collected. And so there's a conversation that's had between her and I and Johnny about, you know, whether or not there's value in attempting to collect it. Sometimes you're throwing good money after bad. So she had said that it would be nice to have a policy approved by council about the writing off of bad debt. That sort of morphed into this as we started talking about things like utility write-offs that also, of course, occur, and that does come before council. So this would be a more, you know, broader umbrella approach to all of that, and then council would still see those write-offs when they came in for your approval. So this is different than forgiving the debt, right? If there was an opportunity to still collect, even with a write-off, collections can still occur. This is more on her side of the house to just allow her to clean up her sheets to show that, you know, if there is debt on the books, that she can then write it off through the legislative authority, which is you.
So you're just trying to get input from us of, are we interested? That's
Yeah.
what you said in the memo, right? That sounds like fine to me. If you and Michelle think it's a good idea, then yay for clean books. Does anybody else want to weigh in on it? Does y'all not weighing in mean you're okay with it?
Okay with Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, great. We'll tee it up in an ordinance, and you'll see it on a future.
Okay.
I'll just cut you off.
No, I just said it makes good sense.
Okay, great. We'll tee it up in an ordinance, and you'll see it here in the next few meetings.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is YSDC Council Representative. The previous DDC thing makes me think maybe we should have like an acronym handbook. So Yellow Springs Development Corporation, Council Representative needed. So I'm assuming this is, Carmen has said that she can't or doesn't want to do it. And is there any context we need to know of, or is it just she can't do it and we need to fill?
She has changed to her work schedule and will not be able to make those meetings anymore.
Got it, okay. So I think the question is, so now you're still doing it, right? Okay. Just checking.
have a change of work.
Just making sure.
Make that a statement, not a question. So now you are still doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, no, it's a question. I was just making sure. Council representatives, just one? Okay. So I guess the question is, does anyone either want to do it, or, if I understand correctly, we can appoint people that are not council. Like I remember the township used to do, I remember Corey Van Osdal did it for the township. So it's like theoretically we could appoint someone, but I think the first question is, does anyone else want to do it? And so that would be the question that's out there.
I mean, I'm open to it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the was hoping someone else would do it just because of responsibilities, not anything against YSDC, just trying to draw a line somewhere.
Me too, trying to draw lines.
Yeah, okay. So if you want to do it, awesome, I think.
Yeah. I think Stephanie would be a welcome addition, especially at this time where we're clarifying roles across economic development partners in general. And I think Stephanie has shown a savvy approach and really direct, astute, like feeling of what's happening within this village limits. And I think she'll bring a much needed breath of fresh air and a different lens as to the projects that we're working on right now.
My thanks.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, you want to go ahead and nominate and move and vote?
Yeah.
Because
the meeting's tomorrow.
Yep. No rush or anything, but just saying.
No pressure.
Tomorrow. See you at 4.
Okay, and if you can't make the meeting tomorrow, that's okay. We can still do it, but, okay, so I'll make a nomination or motion to make a nomination for Stephanie to join YSCC.
Second.
Okay.
Definitely in favor.
All those, do we have to?
All those in favor?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Say aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah, okay, you can vote for yourself, excellent.
Okay.
Anybody
regret it, though.
opposed? Okay, so thank you, Stephanie, and
Thank you,
if you can make the
Stephanie.
meeting tomorrow.
Yes, I can.
Just so you know, tomorrow they've changed locations. It is at Mel's Lawn at 4:30.
4 o'clock for the tour.
4:30.
Okay,
4 o'clock for the tour.
4 o'clock, Mel's Lawn tour, and at 4:30 is the meeting.
okay,
But it's at Mel's Lawn.
okay. I can do that.
Well, cool.
There we go.
Great, that was
Right,
easy.
look at us, doing stuff. Okay, I think that's it in new business. So we're gonna move on to future agenda. So I know we just added the bad debt at some point. I'll let y'all decide what timeline. And then we just added I guess the Wells thing just kind of hangs out in a maybe someday category. I mean, not maybe someday.
Probably
but
August 17th.
Whenever y'all communicate. And then and then we talked about the senior center grant request would be at the next meeting.
Yeah, I would, on the topic of housing, I'd like to bring a final version of our mission statement and goals for review and wrapping that up.
Okay. So that's the one that we know over the retreat. You're just going to make any, so is there like if anybody has any edits, send them to Judy
Yeah, yeah.
in the next couple days, and then that way we can get it on the next one? Okay.
Yep.
And then was there some, I know you said the credit card policy, is that soon?
That's an ordinance.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I just
And then-
mentioned the update about the moratorium.
She's got
Planning
to
Commission.
meet with the planning commission.
Yeah, you guys said planning commission, my bad.
And Elise, you had mentioned at some point about the job descriptions exhibit thing. Is that soon?
I'm hoping July 20th.
Okay.
That is my goal right now.
She mentioned this I think at a past meeting, right? Do you want to just say the summary again of what it was?
So this is an exhibit that goes along with the personnel policy manual. So we just adopted the new personnel policy manual, and with that, now I need to go through and revise Exhibit A. Exhibit A houses all village positions, all job descriptions. So that's what will be coming to you, an updated version.
Great, thank you. Well, and then I'm just noting it's still a ways off, but now, Stephanie, you're joining somewhere pretty close to 45 days of the 90-day blitz or whatever the YSCC economic development role plan is. So I'll let Sanai can fill you in, but just noting that that's one we talked about coming back to that, right? The 90-day check-in on our economic development role. And then I guess we should do executive session next meeting. Well, but wait, next meeting we have website, right?
Yeah, 5 o'clock work session.
Okay, so then can we just add executive session for the one after that then, I guess?
That'd be August.
August 17th.
That.
Yeah. Yep. Personnel.
For personnel, yeah. Anybody think of anything else?
I will just say, I know we only had one meeting in June, but I know staff is working really, really hard in June. And like Stephanie said, we saw it, the community saw it. It was an amazing month. And so I hope on August 3rd, you will actually rest.
And that's worth maybe just the announcement. August, the first meeting in August has historically been, this time we took one more off, but has historically been the time when staff can take a vacation. Okay. Anything else that we missed, future agenda-wise?
I think so.
All right, well, then I think could take a motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
All right. We're all set, and everybody who wanted to watch the World Cup game, you're welcome. Plenty of time.